you've had a few to drink, you've just got paid, and you're like, everyone, the drinks are on me, whatever you want. These are bad spending habits that I left behind in my 20s. It didn't take me too much effort to even think about these things because they play on my mind most of the time. My first worst ever thing that I used to do in my 20s, this was more so in my early 20s, late teens, early 20s. I used to buy an outfit for nearly every single night out that I had. At the university I was at, the first day we were there when you had to register, enroll, we went through to, I think it was like, you know, like the canteen area, and there were all different banks there, like HSBC, Barclays, NatWest, and they all had tables out. I've told you this before. They all had like their tables set out with like the paperwork you can fill in to get the credit, and then each of them were giving out free gifts. So if you took like the £2,000 credit from NatWest, you got like a packet of colouring pencils, and Barclays were giving out a teddy bear or something. So you imagine you're at university, it's your first day, you haven't even seen your bedroom yet, and you're mixing with people, you're all scared, no one knows anyone, you've got Barclays giving you a free teddy bear, this new person you've met, just for banter reasons, is like, should we go and get the free teddy bear? By the end of the day, by the time I got into my room in halls, I had access to so much debt because myself and my friends that I'd met at that moment, we'd all gone to like one desk after the other. Did we do it to get the money? No, we didn't. We went there for the colouring pencils and the teddy bears, like we were kids basically. So I move into halls of residence and I make friends with a group of girls on my floor. We used to party a lot. I used to go out, I was never in. Myself and my friends got into this bad habit where we had all of this money that wasn't ours, and it felt massive. I mean, it was massive, but when I say it felt massive, it felt so big, I felt like it was gonna last me a lifetime. It just was, I had access to about £6,000 at this point. To me, that was like mind-blowing. So anyway, we all started to get into this habit. It kind of started off as a bonding thing to get to know each other, but it was like, do you want to go shopping and get lunch? And then it became an everyday thing for several months before all of us got a severe slap in the face when we got our bank statements through. And it was every single weekend, let's go into central London and buy a new outfit. And I can't lie, I think back to those days and it was fun. But what was fun about it? It was fun getting to hang out with a group of friends, and we knew we had a fun evening coming up and we all got to hang out and try on clothes, and it was just that kind of like girl time. But when I think back to it, I cringe. I'm like, why couldn't you just re-wear the clothes that you bought the previous weekend? So that was a habit that died out quite quickly when the credit died out. The next thing, I'm so embarrassed when I think about this. The next spending habit that I really killed off in my, probably by the time I was 26, I got rid of this one actually, is buying rounds of drinks for people when I was already a little bit inebriated. The amount of time, how many of, have any of you have done this? You've had a few to drink, you've just got paid, and you're like, everyone, the drinks are on me, whatever you want, help yourself. No one ever repays that favour. I was always doing the rounds of drinks. Rarely was it ever repaid. And oh my God, do you know what else I've just remembered? I remember the day, the morning after the night before, going through my wallet with anxiety in my stomach to look for all of the receipts to see how much I'd spent on takeaway food at the end of the evening and on drinks. Every single time. I never learned. It was awful. Please, if any of you are watching and you're like, I've been there, please tell me. Now, the next one is something that I stopped doing regularly when I was about 27 or 28. It was getting my nails done regularly. I used to wear acrylic nails. And I always found, particularly when I was at university, again, I was at university and I liked the look of acrylic nails. I really don't like the look of them now on me. And I really like the look of them then. But the thing is, once you start with acrylic nails, you've got to keep up the maintenance. You've got to get them filled in. And then if you do get them taken off, like, oh, I have a tingle up my spine when I think about the condition of my nails after I've had acrylics on. And I remember a lot of the time I'd have like one nail that would completely break off, and I'd be in a situation where I'd be like, well, how do I get them off? Because they're like cemented on. And on one hand, it was only about £20 to get an infill, but to me, I had no job, so £20 was a lot of money. And I ended up in this cycle of continuously getting my nails done. And when I look back, when I was trying to get myself out of debt, so I worked my way out of debt when I hit about 26, I really started on that path to pay it all off. And maybe a bit before that, to be honest, I think it was when I was about 24, I was like, oh my God, I need to handle this. But it's hard to pay off debt unless you're being paid enough money to actually pay it off. And you know what I'm saying. Anyway, that was one of the many things that I culled when I was working off paying off debt. It was getting my nails done. I started doing it myself, and the condition of my natural nails just got better and better. Like now, I wear gel polish and I do it myself. On rare occasions, I will go and get them done, but I'm talking within a year, I might get them done between 2 and 4 times in the year. I don't get it done that often in a salon. I ended up, over the course of time, I kind of like bought the lamp on eBay and I bought the gels. But even before that, I just stopped doing the acrylic nails. I think I ended up, as I vaguely remember, I think I went somewhere and had them totally removed, and then I went through that pain barrier of like my nails feeling really thin and brittle, and I just used regular nail polish and OPI, you know, nail envy, that kind of clear stuff that really helps them grow out. I used that, and that was one of the first things that I killed off. Spending, that's like a subscription. That's regular money every couple of weeks. I used to spend a lot on credit cards, and I used to think nothing of it. And then, you know, it would kind of hit me when I was trying to go to bed at night. I used to get all these, like, does anyone else get that? If you're worried about something, generally speaking, you think about it in the day and you're fine. It's always kind of in the middle of the night when you're trying to go to sleep that it feels a lot more scary in your head. And I, you know, as I say, it was easy to access credit cards at the time, and I was living my life on them. It was so scary because once you're in it, it's really hard to get out of it, because my monthly debt payments were more than my salary, so I was kind of forced to continue living on them. It ended up like a horrible downward spiral. But that's one thing that I killed off as well. As soon as I paid off my credit cards, and it took years, by the way, I had, after university, including my student loans, including everything, I had like over £40,000 worth in debt, and it really took so much cutting back and living a really basic lifestyle to get it all paid off. But it was so worth it in the end. It was so liberating once I'd paid it all off. I could sleep at night and it didn't bother me, and I didn't have to worry about it. And now I'm mentally, I'm in a different headspace. Like when I was 20, why did I spend money? Because I was young and it was fun. There's nothing more to it than that. Now that I'm a bit older, I just think I'm a bit more, I guess as well, because you work so hard for it, I view money differently and I respect it a lot more. Do you know, I've just seen this other point that I wrote down, and I remember this was a real thing, and it's kind of two things. So when I was in my 20s, I went through this phase for years where I constantly felt like I needed to treat myself. I think what it was down to, again, being young and just wanting to have fun, whether that was going out in the evenings or buying new stuff. But also, I think another thing that really did it is because I was in so much debt, and because I was trying, so basically, rewind. You know, I said I used to get paid and my salary was about £50 or £100 less than all of my monthly outgoings. So every month you can see, and that's me paying down minimum payments, by the way, on credit cards. So you can already see how, when you're on like a low job that you can't get out of, you can see how that being like £50 or £100 every single month the wrong way, that helps add up your debt. That just helps add to it. And I think because by the time I came out of university, I had less than no money, and I was still living at home, so that was kind of fine, like there was food. But because of all of that, I think that I used to feel quite stressed with it. And that's where that, oh, I want to treat myself to something comes from. And that's really weird, because I can't even relate to that now, that kind of mentality. But that also ties into the next thing I was going to say, which is when I was in my 20s, I could never focus myself to save up for the big things that I wanted. I used to get distracted by buying lots of small things along the way. So let's say I wanted a bag, this bag. I'd start saving and I'd be like focused, right, I'm gonna save up the money for that bag. But then, because it would probably take me like a year to save up, I'd get to 3 months in and I'd go and buy like makeup or just general junk. You know, I'd go and buy lots of small things that would blow all of the money that I'd saved up, and I'd never ended up with the bigger item, and I just ended up with like loads of junk. And I think that was a real 20s thing that I did, and I don't know, I can only put it down to immaturity, I think is what it probably was. The final bad spending habit that I left in my 20s is saving money when you're in debt. So when I started getting jobs where I earned more than what my debt was, like my outgoing costs, I was like, brilliant, I'll carry on paying a bit more than the interest, like the interest plus a bit extra, and I'll save. And I like started building up this pot of money. And when I look back, I think that was not clever, because the interest rate I was getting on savings was a fraction of the interest rate I was being charged on debt. And in hindsight, I'd have been better off taking that money that I was saving and plugging the debt with it, instead of doing this thing that I thought was right, which was saving money. So I think, and that's another reason why I think it took me longer to pay off the debt, because instead of just paying it down, I was like saving money that wasn't paying it down until years later, when I felt like I had this lump sum and I just like paid it off. But I think if I'd done it over the course of time, I'd have cleared it quicker, and it would have cost me less in interest to do that. Wow, do you know, that was a real blast from the past, writing all that stuff down. I do look back at my 20s and I'm like, what an idiot. Please let me know if you've listened to any of this and you did any of this. Please can you tell me in the comments, so that I know I'm not the only one who was a stupid idiot. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.